Santos, and in this video, I would like to summarize my recently published paper in Physical Review, Physics Education Research. The title of my paper is Investigative Study on Preprint Journal Club as an Effective Method of Teaching the Latest Knowledge in Astronomy. So let's get started. Before that, I would like to share with you a familiar picture of the winners of Nobel Prize in Physics last year. Dr. Roger Penrose, Dr. Reinhard Genzel, and Dr. Andrea Ghez were awarded this prestigious award for their contribution in understanding black hole physics. And this is just a representation of how rapid the advancement in our knowledge in astronomy and physics is. And there is also a growing necessity on keeping abreast with the latest knowledge in astronomy. And how do we do this? Usually we do this by reading journals regularly, because we all know that physicists and astronomers are heavy readers of journals. But then we don't just read published papers, we also read preprints, which are papers or manuscripts that are released earlier than their journal's publishing date. We usually see preprints in what we call preprint servers or preprint repositories, wherein these are open access, everyone can have an access to them. And here's an example of a preprint server. It's called Archive. Archive here, X, is chi, Greek letter chi, it's not X. And in archive.org, there are many other subjects, not just astrophysics, but also condensed matter, physics, and many other subjects. And as you can see here, there is a total of 115 entries for just a single day. This was taken last May 27, 2020. And actually, in Archive, around 100 new papers are published in Archive every single day. And this is just for astronomy. And if you're studying astronomy, if you're a student, how would you read 100 papers per day? How? And how would you know if a paper is good or bad? So that's why having what we call journal clubs are really helpful in overcoming these obstacles. Journal club is a session wherein participants like students, postdocs, professors can join and read papers together and have a fruitful discussion about the latest papers, not just preprints and published journals. And usually in astronomy, we call these journal clubs Astrocoffee or AstroPH. Astrocoffee because participants drink coffee or drink other things and eat snacks while discussing. And AstroPH because it's just a contraction of astrophysics. And for our study and for this video, we will shorten it to AC. And we want to understand how effective AC or Astronomy Journal Club is in keeping or understanding the latest knowledge in astronomy. And we want to assess the following. One is the factors that are important for implementing a successful AC. We do this by asking other universities how they implement their own AC. And the second one is assessing our own AC in NTHU, National Tsinghua University. So we want to see how these factors that we are going to pinpoint here show up in our own AC implementation. As for our knowledge, there are no published papers yet about understanding or having an in-depth study about journal clubs in astronomy. So this is the first time that we're going to do this. So we summarize here the methodology that we had, which is actually a mixed methods research, which is composed of a qualitative and quantitative design. And as you can see, we had a data collection part wherein we made and disseminated a survey to organizers around the world. So we asked them how they implement their own AC. And we had follow-up interviews to them, to those who are willing to have them. So here's an example of the survey that we disseminated to them. And also we assessed the implementation of our AC in NTHU. So here's a picture of our AC, and we do this every Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays on lunchtime. And we have 3 papers per day, 10 minutes per paper for presentation. And it's an elective class. We assessed it last year in spring semester 2020. And the presentation is simple. We divided the participants who are willing to discuss papers into 3 groups. For each group, they have a single day, and we have a rotation system. Like for example, in a single day, there are 3 presenters in a single group, and discussing in a single day. And then the next week, there's another set of 3 people in the same group who will discuss papers, and it will rotate for every other week. And the presentation is pretty easy. So the presenter just comes in front, shows the paper on screen, and then discusses why the paper is important, why the paper is unique, some basic concepts, and the main results and figures of the paper. So, in our AstroPH or AC, we also have a Facebook group wherein everyone can post their papers that they will discuss. So we don't just post preprints, we also post like papers recently published in journals like Nature, and we also post YouTube links of colloquia, talks, seminars, and we watch them in AstroPH or AC if we have the time. And we also post other media like animation, videos, images, other journals and blogs, websites of press releases, and we discuss them in AC. And we have a website here. We have a group website, and we have a page wherein we post the previously discussed papers and links in our AstroPH or AC. So after the implementation last semester, we sent a survey to the participants to ask them to grade the factors that we pinpointed in our data collection previously. So we used a Likert scale to grade these factors. And for statistical purposes and analysis, we divided the participants into 3 groups. So we have enrollees, volunteers, and audiences. As you can see here in this table, enrollees are those that are enrolled in the class because they need the credits, and as a result, they need to present papers regularly. But volunteers, on the other hand, do not need the credits, but then they are willing to present papers regularly. So enrollees are mostly undergrads and junior graduate students, and volunteers are mostly postdocs and senior graduate students. Audiences, on the other hand, are professors, so they are not enrolled and they don't present papers, so they just come and watch AC. Now, for a summary of our results, we see here that we have 9 people from different parts of the world that we were able to interview with. And based on their interviews responses, we coded and themed them to pinpoint the factors that are important in understanding, in having a successful AC rather. And now I would like to discuss these factors. We pinpointed 4 factors. One is commitment. It's very important that everyone in the AC session are committed in not just attending, but also in having a fruitful discussion and participation. So having an organizer is also an advantage because that organizer will be in charge of making sure that everyone is attending and participating, as long as the organizer is committed as well. The second one is environment. It's really important to have a stress-free environment where people, especially students, can ask questions freely without any prejudice from other people, because to have a fruitful discussion as well. So that's what we discussed in environment. The third one is content. We also need to acknowledge what we call topic bias. Topic bias arises, like for instance, when a person or a participant studies a certain research field, he or she would discuss it on AstroPH more frequently. And he or she will perceive other research fields as difficult to perceive or difficult to understand. So this is what we call topic bias. And if all the participants study a single research field, it becomes more of like a group meeting rather than a diverse AC. So if we want to achieve a diverse AC that can manage many topics at the same time, then we need to overcome topic bias. And also, it also helps to have various platforms and media for discussion, like having or discussing press releases, blogs, animations, images, and videos online. So this is what we want to emphasize in content. And lastly, objective. Of course, it's important to have a clear and concise list of goals that you want to achieve when you are going to implement AC. Do you want to keep abreast of the latest knowledge in astronomy only? Or do you want to teach students how to present papers properly? Or do you want to learn other concepts in astronomy? And then there are many other goals that you can achieve, but you need to make sure that everyone in the session knows about these objectives. And so I would like to summarize our findings in our assessment of AC implementation in NTHU. We found out that those who present papers regularly, like enrollees and volunteers, tend to be more committed in attending AC compared to audiences who just come to watch AC. It's not just because the former are presenting papers regularly, but also it could be because the latter, like the audiences, do not have much time because they're professors. And also we had a clear evidence of topic bias arising in our own AC. We saw that most of the participants tend to discuss their own research fields and find other research fields difficult to understand. But then, in our AC, we have many participants studying different research fields. So the tendency is our AC naturally becomes a diverse AC wherein we are able to discuss many different research fields. And actually, we saw a high satisfaction rate for our AC implementation as well. We saw that many students gave a high score in our AC implementation. And we saw other areas of improvement like lack of food and drinks because we cannot eat and drink while inside the classroom due to pandemic situation. And also lack of participation in attending experts like postdocs for deeper discussions. And also there's a disadvantage of using too many platforms and media for reading papers. It becomes confusing. So we hope that we can solve these in the future as we improve our own AC. Before I end my summary, I would like to share with you some tips on how to implement a successful AC based on our results. This will be very helpful for those who would like to start their own ACs in their respective institutions or for those who would like to improve their own AC. So of course, first and foremost, you need to make sure that the goals are presented to the participants in the first session, especially in the first session. These goals must be clear and concise, and you need to specify this so that everyone will be on the same page. And also, you need to make sure to have a core group of people who are committed in attending and participating in AC. Having an organizer who is able to influence everyone in the institute to join is also helpful for having a successful AC. Also having a balance between in-depth discussions and casual communication among participants is really great to have a better discussion of the paper and to improve the social aspect of AC. And lastly, it would be important for other people to understand the paper, so you need to present the basic concepts of the paper before going into more details of the paper so that everyone will be on the same page. And also having visual aids like images, videos, animations, and other media would be helpful in the discussion. So here ends my talk. Thank you very much for watching till the end. I would like to also invite you, if you have papers in astronomy that you recently published, you can also reach out to us if you want to present your paper in our AstroPH. So here are some links in our FP group and also in our group website. So thank you very much for listening.